record. Okay, so
Got
we'll
it.
go ahead then and get started with John.
Hey, I'm John Adcock. I'm the Director of Student Legal Services. This is our open house. And first thing we like to make sure everybody knows is this is not a confidential setting. It's actually being recorded, as you heard. So if there's anything you want to talk about confidentially, we can do that later, but don't do it on this this video. Not a good idea.
Come
It's
talk
not
to us
confidential.
personally. Yeah, not on the video.
Right.
Contact our office.
So a little introduction about our office. We are a professional legal office that's been around since 1977. We have 4 full-time attorneys, and we're all here on the screen today. Actually, we're all going to speak a little bit. We are, the top line says free, real attorneys for the students. So yes, we're not student interns. We're actual attorneys. We've all been practicing law. Between the 4 of us have over 100 years. And I think that might be over 110 now, maybe. So we've been doing this for a long time, but we're a professional legal office. We are funded by student government through activity and service fees. That's part of your tuition. And what we do is we provide confidential legal advice and assistance to UF students. We don't represent the university. We're not general counsel. That's their job. We represent students who come to see us. And everything we do, everything we discuss is confidential. It's between us. We don't tell anyone else at the university about your case. We don't call your parents. We have parents who want to participate. Sometimes students want their parents involved, but we don't do that. We also do notary services, walk-in and remote. And we also do professional development and educational workshops. And that's mostly what we're going to talk about today. We're going to briefly go through what we do, but then we'll talk about that in particular, because I know that's what everyone's here for. This is our staff, and this is the part where that's me in the top left. And we will go around and everyone will introduce themselves. Alicia?
You gonna tell us a little about yourself, John?
Yeah, well, I'm that guy, and I'm the director. I've been the director since 2013, I think, and been working here since 2004. Actually been an attorney for 35 years. So I started in Louisiana, practiced there in private practice for a long time, then moved here. And it's the only place I've ever worked in the state of Florida, has been at the University of Florida. So proud to be here.
Go to school, John.
Well, since Alicia is going to make me bring this up, I went to LSU, and yes, I was a little conflicted Saturday, but happier with the outcome than pretty much anyone else around here.
So I'm Alicia Tabag. I'm the Associate Director. I went undergrad here at UF, and I got my law degree here at UF Law. I started at Student Legal Services way back in the 90s, early 90s. This was my first job, my 3 to 5 year position. And for some reason, I found that I like working with students. So 28 years later, I am still here at Student Legal Services.
Great. My name is Lane Prebor, and we're all on a first name basis. Feel free to call me Lane. I've been practicing for 24 years now and graduated also a product of UF Law, Levin College of Law. And before joining Student Legal, it's been 10 years now that I've been a Student Legal as well. And before joining Student Legal, I was in private practice and have both bench and jury trial experience. Not as much as Ray, but a little bit.
And I'm Ray. I've been at UF Student Legal Services since 2013. And before that, I was a trial attorney for 15 years. And as Lane has alluded to, I've done a few trials. Hadn't done many, thankfully, since I've been at Student Legal Services. But if need be, we can always do that. So Nice to have you all in today.
I'm not sure, is Joy with us? I don't know if Joy joined us, but Joy is our admin assistant. She's also our primary notary. So if you come in for notary services, you'll probably be dealing with Joy the most. I'll go ahead and let Mackenzie introduce herself since she'll be talking about the involvement opportunities.
Sure, yeah. So my name is Mackenzie DeLeo. I'm one of the current marketing interns with the SLS office. I'm a senior and I've actually been involved with the office starting in my freshman year as a student ambassador. And like Alicia said, I'm going to be talking about the involvement opportunities for pre-law students in the office a little bit later in the presentation.
Yes, I think Mackenzie has actually been involved in all the student development opportunities, right? Ambassador, research intern,
I have,
marketing intern, ambassador. So she is very well knowledgeable as to the involvement opportunities and what they mean to her. So let me tell you a little about what our office does. Basically, we do provide full representation, including in court, for Alachua County in the areas of landlord-tenant cases, specifically tenant representation, tenants that are in off-campus rentals. We also go to court regarding sealing or expunction of criminal records, dissolutions of marriage, and believe it or not, we do have several of those each year, and also name changes. We also offer advice and assistance in a wide range of other legal issues, including criminal charges, traffic citations, consumer matters, which are very broad. It can be defective products or services like that auto repair gone bad, warranty issues, contracts, credit disputes, and identity theft. We can also help you with auto or health insurance claims, damage to personal property like your laptop or your bicycle. We handle powers of attorney, living wills, and healthcare surrogates. And we offer limited assistance with business activities, pretty much business formation if you're trying to start a business, what the different options are. Several years ago, we also started helping student organizations. So any student organization that's registered with activities and involvement, sorority and fraternity affairs, or rec sports can come into our office to get advice and consultations regarding general civil cases, contracts, consumer cases. We also offer guidance regarding entity formation procedures. Mainly people want to discuss whether or not to become a nonprofit organization or not. We also help organizations get their federal employer identification number, which is necessary in order for you to open a bank account. And sometimes if you're doing a fundraiser at a restaurant, they'll require an FEIN. So we can help you with those situations as a student group. Ray, I think these are your.
Yep,
right?
absolutely. And so as much as we help students and want to do as many different types of cases and help students in different types of matters as we can, we do have some limitations. The biggest, or one of the biggest limitations we have, is that we cannot get involved in disputes which involve one UF student against another UF student. As you can probably imagine, that's a direct conflict of interest under the Florida bar rules. The same would apply occasionally. I do a lot of the stuff with the student organizations, and occasionally I'll get the question from an organization about, can they, can I help them with a waiver of liability that they're going to have students sign before they do some, activity with the group. And unfortunately, that falls under this same type of analysis where I can't give guidance to one client to the detriment of another client's interest. So any things like that, we're not allowed to get involved with. By the same token, this probably won't shock anyone, we can't take any cases where the person seeks to sue our employer. And again, there's a conflict of interest there, but as you can probably also imagine, you probably wouldn't take too kindly if we started bringing lawsuits against them. So, and finally, we limit our assistance to students to disputes that are over $100 in value and less than $15,000 in value. The reasons for this basically are that when the amounts get over $15,000, you really kind of need, there are going to be lots of other things that go on in your case, like depositions and hearings and all kinds of stuff like that. And we're limited in scope and in our ability to go to court. And so, those types of cases really need to have another, private attorney assisting you so that they can go to court and help you with that sort of thing. With regard to the disputes under $100, for us, it really comes down to, we stay so busy and our aim is to help as many students as we can. And in order to be able to do that, we have to sometimes figure out how to disperse our resources. And unfortunately, those disputes where someone comes to us and says, hey, my landlord, owes me $60 more for my security deposit. That's a real issue for that student. But at the same time, in terms of how we disperse our resources at the office, that case would take just as much time as it would to where someone's saying, hey, my landlord took my $1,800 security deposit. And so, unfortunately, we have to make some decisions on these limitations, and these are the limits that we've arrived at over the years. In terms of the types of cases that we don't provide legal advice in, admiralty is its own area. You'll notice a pattern as we go through this list. These are sort of specialized areas with their own laws and that sort of thing. Admiralty, for instance, we don't do any of that. We don't do bankruptcy. We don't do immigration laws or cases, no income tax, patent, trademarks, copyrights, personal injury type cases, real estate, wills and trusts. Now, having said all of that, we do maintain a local referral list of attorneys who can help students in each of these areas, or at least most of these areas. And so if you are experiencing an issue where that falls in one of these legal areas, you should still contact our office and at least get a referral, because the people that we refer to generally will agree to give more favorable rates to our students. And so it may make sense to check with us first. Full exposure or full disclosure, whatever I'm trying to say here. We don't have any business relationships with any local attorneys. We do not get referral fees. These are just people that we happen to know in the community and who we happen to believe will do a good job for you. So to be eligible for our services, there are a few things that have to be the case. One of those, you have to be enrolled in at least 6 credit hours or taking the remaining courses that you have that are required for you to graduate. And here's the key, paying the activity and service fee. So our office is funded through the activity, a portion of the activity and service fee. And so any eligible client would have to have paid that fee to be able to participate in our program. Student orgs that are registered and in good standing with student activities and involvement, we're happy to assist them. I'll go out and say this, even if your organization is your own private organization, as long as the students that are involved in the organization have paid the activity and service fee, I think we could probably help those student organizations as well. Finally, we have the PACE program, the online folks. My understanding and our understanding is that they have an optional fee package where they can opt in to paying the activity and service fee. Of course, we encourage students to do that because it's not unusual for us to get cases, we get them all the time, in fact, cases from out of town where students that are in the online programs or grad students somewhere else or whatever the case may be are experiencing landlord tenant issues in Tampa, for instance. This morning, I've been dealing with a case that involves a client who lives in the Tampa area. So, even though there's the option to pay that activity and service fee, we encourage you to do that. And it's a very small investment, which could pay off for you big time if something happens with a landlord or if you get in a wreck or something along those lines. Is this still me?
This is Mackenzie.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
my side. Okay. So yeah, so as Alicia said, I've actually done each of the involvement opportunities with the office. So I'm going to talk a bit about just what the opportunities are and how you can get involved with them, and just kind of my experience with them. So there's 4 primary opportunities within the office. There's the research internship, the professional shadow mentorship program, marketing internship, and then being a student ambassador. So to start with the research internship, this is a really great way to conduct legal related research under Alicia's supervision and with Alicia's help. So back when I applied for the research internship, I actually didn't even necessarily have a clear vision of what I wanted to conduct my research on. But once I got the internship, I sat down with Alicia in a meeting and we just kind of talked about what my interests were and potentially kind of what law I would want to practice in the future. So for example, I am studying journalism and communications, and I'm interested in potentially studying media law in the future. So I ended up doing my research on the legal implications and laws surrounding media coverage of protests. So it's a semester-long internship. So I worked throughout the semester doing research with law journals, scholarly articles, working with a lot of data, putting together graphs, and then I made my final report. So it's a great thing to add to your portfolio. And I know there's also other outlets like around campus that you can try to get your research published with as well. I know maybe the attorneys can attest to this, but I think legal research is something that you're probably going to have to dabble with at some point during your law school career. So it's a great way to refine those skills during undergrad. And like I said, get those skills early on.
One thing, Mackenzie, on
Yeah,
the research internships. Even though I supervise the internships, if the project is something that one of the other attorneys has a specialization in, then pretty much you can be working with some of the other attorneys. Like Lane and Ray have a lot of experience with trial work. So sometimes we'll have students that observe court hearings and things like that. So they get to interact with Lane and Ray to get questions about their experiences also. So even though I supervise and handle most of the internships, there is an opportunity to work with the other attorneys as well.
Yeah, and I think something that's really great too about this internship is that it is sort of done on your own time when it's convenient for you. So it's not necessarily going to be the kind of internship where you have to go into the office at a certain time or you have to attend meetings at a certain time. You actually set up your own meetings with Alicia or one of the other attorneys when it's convenient for you. And they can help you with any problems you're having with your research or just help you advance your research further. So it's a really great opportunity if you're looking for an internship where you can still get a lot of work done, but also balance it well with your schoolwork or if you have a job or something of the sorts. And I think these applications for the research internship close on Thursday by the end of the day. So if that's like something you want to apply for the next semester, spring 2022, I think we're taking questions at the end. So could answer maybe questions about those applications. The second opportunity is the professional shadow mentorship program. And I know a lot of students kind of like to take advantage of this opportunity to sort of get their foot in the door with the office and get greater exposure to the legal field. So even if you're not totally sure that law is something that you want to do in the future, but again, you just want to learn more, this is a really great opportunity to do that. So sort of like the research internship, Alicia or one of the other attorneys will kind of send you like maybe a schedule of when they have different appointments that week or consultations. And then you can sign up for that appointment and sort of sit in on it and learn some legal terminology, learn how the legal process works, ask follow-up questions so you understand. So again, just a really great way to learn more about the office and more about being an attorney, how lawyers interact with their clients and all of that. Hopefully I didn't miss anything there, Alicia, but please jump in.
The assistance with law school planning. So a lot of times students like to talk to us about our career paths and ways that they can make themselves better applicants. So we really focus on that professional development component also as part of that mentorship program.
Okay, and then the last two they're put together because they work together really closely. So it's the marketing internship and the student ambassadors. So to start off with the student ambassadors, the ambassadors kind of take charge of doing like all outreach opportunities for the office to really advertise what the office is and the services that the office provides to UF students, especially those who aren't aware. So the ambassadors will do tabling opportunities, they'll do presentations to student organizations and to classrooms, and they also help with running our various social media accounts. Ambassadors meet like I think once a month just to do a touch base on upcoming events and all of that, but otherwise ambassadors do offer some flexibility where you can sign up for opportunities that work with your schedule. And then along those lines, the marketing intern, which I'm doing right now, marketing interns sort of oversee the ambassadors. So they set up outreach opportunities, they set up those tabling opportunities, look for presentations, and help oversee the social media accounts as well. And then in addition, marketing interns also kind of help with setting up opportunities like this, the open house, helping the attorneys in that regard. So I think just to go back, I think the professional shadow mentorship program, I think applications for those are open year round, right? Yes. And then the marketing intern, those applications open at the end of the spring. So it's like a year-long internship. And then ambassadors, we're actually going to be opening up the application later this week because we are looking for more ambassadors. So since all of you we already have all of your emails, we'll probably send you more information about that after this meeting if that's something you're interested in, and we'll also be advertising it like on the pre-law listserv and stuff like that. So yeah, like I said, I think we're going to be fielding questions at the end. So if you have any more questions about what each of these opportunities entail or just anything about my experience, I guess I'll be happy to answer those at the end.
I'm stuck. So Lane's going to take us on a tour of the office. If I can get it to work.
Delegators today to U.S. Legal Services. We are located in Suite 3500 on the 3rd floor of the Wright Union. So once you go inside the elevators, come up to the 3rd floor, you'll exit and you'll see the signage that points down to Student Legal Services. Follow me if you will. It's a short walk from the elevators to our office. And you'll see Student Legal Services is comprised of 4 attorneys. John Adcock is the director, Alicia Tebeg, the associate director, and also included are Lane Freemore and Ray Hoffman. Very simple. Come on in. I'd like to show you inside. And this is our waiting room, and it's been renovated. And we have more space now to appropriately social distance during these times. And let me introduce our very diligent, hardworking student assistant, Katrina. Katrina, can you tell us a little bit about the process, how to apply, and how long it takes to get an appointment?
Yeah, so if you're interested in booking an appointment with us for legal advice, you can just go onto our website, which is studentlegalservices.uofl.edu. And then you just go ahead and apply as either an individual student or on behalf of a student organization. And then it takes about 15 minutes to fill out the request. And then once we go ahead and receive it on our end, it'll take 1 to 2 hours for us to get back to you. And then we'll probably be able to schedule an appointment within 48 hours.
Thank you, Katrina. And now, continuing on our tour, I'd like to introduce my good and great friend and colleague, Alicia Tebeg, our associate director. Hi, Alicia. How are you doing today?
Just look at my name. Just do you remember my name or my title?
Please. I should know that after all these years. Alicia, can you tell us a little bit about the professional opportunities that are available for our students at Student Legal?
Yes, we like to promote the professional development of pre-law students. So we offer 5 opportunities here at Student Legal Services for students to learn more about the legal profession and the actual practice of law. So you met Katrina Freddes, who's one of our 5 wonderful student assistants. That's one opportunity. We also offer the pre-law shadow and professional mentorship program where students can actually meet with the attorneys and sit in client consultations. We have research internships. We have student ambassadors that do the outreach for our office. And we also have the marketing and outreach internships, which basically supervise the student ambassadors.
Thank you, Alicia. A lot of involvement opportunities.
Definitely.
Appreciate that. Coming down the hallway, what do Alicia just described our internship program. Here's where the interns typically do their projects, and we have 3 workstations available for them. And let me show you room 3500G, which is that great green attorney, Lane Prebor, also known as the legal fox. You want to just come in very briefly. This is where we have a lot of consultations, obviously. Beyond that, we also produce a lot of content, including the videos. If you look here, we have the whiteboard videos. Check out our legal tidbits online on our YouTube channel. And let me show you the other 2 attorneys. We have John Adcock, who is busy helping a student right now, as well as Ray Coffin, who is also busy. It appears that it's getting pretty busy. This is a busier time of the summer. We have the student tenants moving in, we have them moving out. I'd like to kind of conclude the tour of this office with the last room, which is our conference room. And in the conference room, this has been a nice addition because we can meet with multiple students. Sometimes we have 3 or 4 students, right, that are sharing an apartment or house. We can also appropriately social distance with the notaries that come in. If you have any questions, any concerns at all, please contact us at Student Legal Services. And I just want to give a shout out, a big thank you to all my fellow Gators. Bye-bye.
That is on the office. Hang on, I got to get rid of this.
For the record, I just did not want Lane to come into my office during that time period.
Understandable. Yeah.
No, Ray, you were actually with a client, I believe, that day. Let me just
I
find
thought,
PowerPoint.
I thought that was just me. Okay, Ray, I'm glad we're in the same boat on that.
I unfortunately am not technologically savvy, so I have to reshare the screen because I think I just got totally out of it. So if you just bear with me, I will go back to where we were and share. Sorry, I'm old school.
No worries. I think it was slide 13. We're up to now.
Yeah, I'm at the tail end of computers. You'd think after doing Zoom meetings for so long, I'd know this by now. All right, here we go. I think this is still you, Lane.
Oh, okay. Let me see. It's showing slide 1 on my screen. Is
Oh,
there a different
it should be
one?
line. Does everybody see this one? Oh, it's paused. Sorry, my bad. Let me stop share. Let me reshare.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just really bad at technology. Where is my share screen? This one. Let me go back now because I'm on 17.
Yeah, there we go. Great.
Is it now? Okay, there you go.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. Nice to pick up after the office tour. So just to let everybody know, our normal business hours are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And I know a lot of students ask about this. The reason is because this is how the legal world operates, okay? Within 8 to 5, typically Monday through Friday. And so we try to track those hours, and certainly there are certain events and students may contact us for after hour needs occasionally. And we do try to accommodate for those in terms of reasonable accommodations if we need to do it. And I know sometimes we get so wrapped up in work, it's hard to leave it, at 5 p.m. Really just depending on the project and things that we have, but we're encouraging a healthy work lifestyle environment. Consultations, Zoom or telephone right now, or in person. So we basically have all of it covered. And I'm very proud to tout this, that we were very quick to go on board with Zoom. I know we all had it installed, but didn't really use it very much before COVID. And after COVID, it's been kind of a golden age in a sense because of outreach that we're able to do, which we're doing today. And as part of this, so Zoom has allowed us to reach, I want to say this, students on every continent except Antarctica. So if any student ever goes to Antarctica, we can add that in. That would be great. Please Zoom us from there. So consultations, I know in terms of your schedule, Zoom is often easier for you to make it in rather than coming in person. And we kind of keep everybody safe, obviously. In terms of notary services, similarly, keeping everybody safe Monday through Friday. In person are between 9 and 11:30 a.m. and 1:30 to 3:30 p.m.
Actually, that's
Now,
4 o'clock.
oh, okay. Is it changed to 4 o'clock now? Thank you, Alicia. Yeah, bit of an update then. 1:30 to 4 p.m. And they can be remote or in person. So we have that capability now for both. Now, a lot of students want to come in and they're signing the loyalty oaths, for example, working at the University of Florida. And for the in-person services, that's fine, but face coverings, and I'll show you mine. I've got mine, you know, kind of permanently on. If I go in the hallway, I have to put it on. Face coverings and social distancing are expected. Okay, again, just trying to keep everyone safe. Great common case types. I'm all excited, you know, about this, and for our students that love numbers. Landlord tenant, yeah, pretty much compromising about 50% of what we do. Now during COVID, probably closer to 90% was closer to what we were doing. And it felt like 24/7 during COVID. Obviously, a lot of students were contacting us that were locked into leases and they want to pay for an apartment that they weren't using. But it looks like typical stats around 50% of what we do, which is huge. And I do want to point this out that before you sign with a complex, we'd love for you to come in and do a lease review so you can understand the language. We can also tell you about the individual issues that we've had with those complexes. Interviews, very important for our students. Class shadow internships, about 11% of our services there. Now, court procedures, which cover many things across the board, about 6.7%. Contracts, 6.5%. And you can imagine contracts are involved in just about every legal case that we're dealing with on some level. But in terms of contracts themselves, probably about 6.5%. And traffic, about 5.3%. So we like to say we can do everything from a simple traffic ticket all the way through to civil matters as well as criminal matters. Now, let's talk about case types where we have more grad students. Property, we're running 83 to 70% on that. With contracts, it looks like 64.5 versus 35.5. Consumer, 62 versus 38%. And traffic, 56 versus 44% on that. So grad students, one of the reasons is they've lived longer, okay? There are more things that have happened during their lives, and certainly some of their issues can be much more complex than the undergrad cases that we encounter. Okay, who we helped. This is for the last fiscal year, 2020 to 2021. So you're getting the most up-to-date statistics on this. And if you notice something interesting, overall, 4,673 contacts. So we always like to say we're a small office with a very large impact. 1,359 clients were directly assisted. We had 1,975 workshop attendees. And if you notice, this is interesting. This was during COVID, right? 0 tabling contacts. And obviously that was done to keep everybody safe. We found that doing these virtual presentations and virtual outreach, we had a lot of people attending, again, from around the world, right? Because a lot of our students were landlocked in their countries and couldn't travel during that time period. So tabling contacts were 0, but we expect that to be increasing, okay, as the COVID numbers go down. Clients assisted now. Okay, let's take a look at these numbers. This is interesting. Graduate, again, 39.5% versus undergrad, 60.5%. So you can see that the grad students that come in to see us are overrepresented compared to the relative population at UF. So running a few percentage points higher versus undergrad. Domestic now versus international students. I always think this is an interesting stat because we're running international students 22%, okay, versus UF stats of 6.88%. Now, multiple reasons for that. You know, international students, when they have a case issue, it can impact on so many variables, right? When you've got to be in visa status, you don't want anything to upset that. So it can be more complex analysis on that. So certainly in terms of international students, even getting a simple traffic ticket, they may not understand about court procedures here, how to pay for it, traffic school, et cetera. So our international numbers are higher probably because they feel that it's much more needed, okay, in their situations. Female versus male, 58.401%, pretty close, okay, not specified, 0.7%. We're dealing with 0.3, 45, and 54% here. So I guess you could say there is a somewhat of a female bias in terms of the students that are asking for services from our office. Okay, that's the way that I think I have to put it there. The next update on the stats will be 222. Financial savings, I'm very glad to say this, over $1 million, okay, when we add the money saved, the money recovered, attorney fees saved, notary fees saved. Now, remember, this is an extraordinary period. This was during COVID, but very, very proud of all these numbers and the amounts that we've been able to save for our students with, you know, a relatively small office and, to be honest, not a huge budget. So thank you.
So this is our contact information. So if you need to reach us, we're on the 3rd floor of the Rice Union, room 3500. Lane took in a little tour. We're tucked away in a nice little corner. If you have any questions, you can email us or call us at the information on the slide here. And I think Mackenzie can go through our social media accounts.
Of course, yeah. So we have our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. That's where we sort of just advertise events like this, or if the attorneys are having talks on like specific legal topics, that's where we'll advertise. And then we also post some videos on there, but we also post a lot of videos on our YouTube channel. That's where Lane posts the legal tidbits. Well, actually we post them, but Lane makes them. And we also do the Lunch with Lane series. So the ambassadors and the marketing interns kind of work a lot with these social media accounts. So make sure you like follow them, engage with them, and just know that if you do want to get involved with their outreach opportunities, that's something you can play an active role in.
So this is the question and answer portion of our program. So if anyone has any questions regarding the legal profession, the client intake process, any of the involvement opportunities, feel free to go ahead and ask away. Well, all 4 of us will stay on, all 5 of us will stay on to answer your questions.
And if you want, maybe you can just put like your question in the chat or privately message me, and I can just maybe just act as a moderator if you're not comfortable talking. Okay, so Sydney asked, are research internships available each semester? Yes, to my knowledge, they are. So they're offered in the spring, the summer, and the fall. And the internship like applications for the next semester usually open around like the mid semester before. So for example, like the internship application for next semester, it's due on Thursday. So. Okay, so Emily asked, is there an application process for the shadowing and mentorship program?
You can just go ahead and apply for services on our website, and you can go ahead and select the case type, interview, and shadow. And there'll be a pop-up where you can link to the questionnaire, and you just have to submit the completed questionnaire and the your resume online. It's all done through our application process when you apply for services.
Okay, and Samira asked, is it by semester, the shadow mentorship program?
It's continuous, so you can apply at any time.
It's
go ahead, sorry.
the shadowing program, I mean, we set it up so that people can use it as much or as little as they want, really. So students can pretty much get what they want out of the program. You know, there's no minimum or maximum number of appointments you can shadow. So, yeah, it is continuous.
Yeah, and I think Laura asked about the research internships. Do research interns work with each other? Also, are they expected to publish their work, or is it more casual research?
Okay, so basically, we have had a couple of, well, several actually interns who have paired up on research projects. Like when we discuss what your topic would be for the next semester, if two people have a similar interest, we will pretty much see if they want to work as a team. And it does help out a lot when we had students that do court hearing observations downtown. It was helpful that they can like play off each other. Like someone had 2 days available so they can follow one trial, and two people will go one day and then the other person will go another day. So we have had teams for internships, but it just depends on the interns and what their interests would be.
Okay, Mila, to answer your question, it's being recorded and it's going on our YouTube channel, so you'll have access to it through there. Jordan is wondering, Alicia, if there's any way you can show us on the screen where you're supposed to submit your research internship application.
Okay, let me pull up the, one second, let me pull up our website. It's actually going to be different depending on what platform you're using. If you use our website, there should be an apply for services tab that shows up in the corner. Sorry, I think that's not it. Just a minute. Sorry, I'm trying to pull it up. I'm not very savvy when it comes to this. Maybe I should stop sharing that one. Well, actually, I guess the best way to look for it is if you go to UF Student Legal Services. I think all platforms should have the little slider bars at the top. And so there's, I think, 5 screens, and there should be one that says apply for the research internship. And if you click on that slider, it'll take you to where you need to apply.
Yeah, I can share my screen, Alicia, if you want.
Got it? Yeah, because I think it's different. I've heard that on the website, on a computer, there's an apply for services tab. And then some people can't see that apply for services tab up front. But if you just go through the slider, you can just arrow over, and then basically you just click on the apply for spring internship, the link down there, and it'll take you to where you need to apply.
Yeah, the button's up here.
For apply for services. And then you just apply as an individual client. And then you have to log in with your username and password. Then you're supposed to verify your information, and then select case type as an interview. And then it'll be internship, research internship, I believe. And it'll take you through the process of how to apply. There's an upload button in the application process, and you can upload the completed documents into our system that way. It's better, I think you have to save it as a PDF or as a Word document.
Okay, Mila's asking, are international students allowed to apply for the mentorship shadowing program?
Oh yes, any UF students allowed to apply.
Okay, Leah's asking, could you go through the interview process for the research internship? Could you also maybe provide examples of some previous research?
Okay, so basically I think The internship process is we get usually 20 to 30 applications for the research internships. We usually select 7. So there is an application question you have to answer. You have to submit your resume and a cover letter, and pretty much we score the application packets. And then based on the scoring, we select usually 10 to 12 interviews, depending on the applications and the scores. And then we interview those individuals. And then from those individuals, we usually pick about 7 research interns a semester. Okay.
And I think she also wanted to know if you could give some examples of previous research projects.
We've had several, like one of the ones where we had a team approach, it was pretty much, we had 2 interns who reviewed court records looking for sentencing patterns. And so one intern looked at the first half of the year, and then the second intern looked at the second half of the year. So that was one of the joint projects that we had. And like I said, we've had courtroom observations where we had interns would sit in on trials, make observations on outcomes and whatnot. We've had students who have researched online court dockets to see what the patterns were for misdemeanor cases, as far as whether or not you have students were involved, but were their most common case types and most common outcomes. We've had, like Mackenzie did one on reporting during protests and whatnot. We had another student who actually was very interested in the guardian ad litem programs because she was a guardian, and she actually did research on quantifying the qualitative benefits of having a volunteer guardian for the kids. And that was an interesting one because she surveyed guardian ad litems across the state and made recommendations to actually the Florida board. And hopefully they'll implement her changes to try to show that there are benefits beyond just numbers, right? The time spent with them. So those were probably the most interesting one. I have one student now who actually is doing her thesis defense this semester, and she actually was working with patent trolls and how they impact renovation. You don't have to publish. Most of our internships, the topics aren't for publication, but some students put so much work into it that they either want to use it for a thesis defense or they want to publish it. That's up to the student. You do have to get our consent before you decide to publish, so you can see what the final work product is and make sure that it is accurate.
Okay, there's no more questions in the chat currently.
Okay, if anyone has any questions, you can feel free to reach out to any of us directly, and we'd be glad to answer them for you.
Appreciate y'all showing up, and thank you, Mackenzie.
So much, we appreciate it. I'm going to stop recording now.